Overwatch 2 is a great game for someone like me. For context, this is what I mean, okay? So I never played Overwatch 1, and I guess you could say I did for about 20 minutes back in 2016 during an Xbox Live Gold free weekend, back when those were more, of a thing. So I never went on to buy the game. I had no one to play with at the time. I had other games I was way more invested in. And at the time I was only 15, 16, so I didn't actually have a job anyway, so I didn't actually have my own money to actually buy the game. So fast forward to 2022, Overwatch 2 releases, free to play game, and I see every one of my friends that's playing it. So I figure I'll give it a go, I'll install it. I played the original for a little bit, I dabbled for about 20 minutes, half hour back in 2016. I remember enjoying it. I think it's free anyway, what's the worst that can happen? I log on, I join up with a few friends, play a few games, and I end up really enjoying it. And I've been playing the game consistently now for about a week, 2 weeks, alongside other games I've been playing like Dying Light 2 and stuff like that. So you're probably wondering why this makes the game great for someone like me. And you're probably wondering even more about that huge thing in the title, which is, it has problems. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we'll start with the good things. Overwatch 2 is a great game for someone like me for a number of reasons, and we'll start with the most obvious, being the gameplay. I love playing the game. Gameplay's clean. I've encountered absolutely no issues whatsoever. Matches feel fair most of the time, and it doesn't feel like the game has any form of SBMM in unranked, so that's really nice. It makes the game feel quite social and fun instead of try hard and sweaty, although you do get the occasional match where the enemy team is just trying unnecessarily hard in unranked for a win. The variety of heroes always keeps things fresh for me. I very rarely feel bored. I've only scratched the surface of all the heroes, meaning I have even more to look forward to. So going from a game as Junkrat to playing a game as Orisa to playing Ana just keeps things new and fun instead of stale. And this is definitely one of Overwatch 2's greatest strengths, its variety. Games like COD rely on classes and weapons to keep things interesting, but I ultimately find that in the end it's the same thing, just a different gun that plays slightly differently, and it gets too boring in the long run. Games like Rainbow Six Siege, while having a roster of operators in a similar way to Overwatch's heroes, I can't get into them. They're too tiresome. I lost my love for Siege a long time ago. Anyone that's been following me for any length of time will know that. And then there's Overwatch 2, and it kind of sits in the middle for me. Lots of variety, rarely gets boring, and is really fun to play. The gameplay loop is really satisfying, and playing as different roles always makes a match feel really interesting. And even when I lose games, I don't get that annoyed like I would with some other multiplayer games where I'd be full on raging. Having different modes also helps, such as payload, push maps. You're not just repeating the same objective for 15 games in a row. So it's hard to explain, but the gameplay just keeps me coming back. Even after a string of bad games, all it takes is one good game and I'm raring for more. It's almost like Battle Royales, where you lose most games, or you can lose most games, but then all it takes is that one victory, and then the dopamine kicks in and you're just ready to go again. And Overwatch 2 has a lot, I get a lot of bad games because obviously it's a team-based game. There's 5 people playing. You need to play your roles well, and obviously one person can't carry an entire team. It just doesn't work like that in a team-based, objective-based shooter. So I could be playing support, queuing for support 5 games, and out of those 5 games I could lose all 5 because I can't win the game by myself. I can only play my role. If my tank is overextending into the distance and is deciding not to defend the objective, I'm going to lose. If my damages aren't targeting support players and other damage players and getting rid of them for me to safely heal them, we're going to lose. It's not as simple as just, I'm the best player on my team, I can carry this. So you do get a lot of bad games where playing solo, especially without friends, can result in you losing repeatedly because there's no good coordination within the team. The game also has an arcade mode with different game modes that rotate in and out every so often. I've not really taken a full look at this. I've dabbled a little bit. So you've got things like CTF, death matches, 5v5 unlimited, free-for-alls, team deathmatch, elimination. So this helps the game even further. You know, it keeps things new and it keeps things exciting. And if you ever get like fed up of like the standard unranked or competitive gameplay, then you can jump into arcade and it's a little bit more laid back. The objectives are a little bit less stressful. Like, you know, TDM is just the easiest to, as an example. You just jump in, you go for 30 kills for your team, you win, you lose. There's even a custom games mode, which people can create, you know, make their own game modes, publish them for other people to play. Now, this is really similar to Halo's Forge, which if you've played Halo, you'll know how much of a big deal a mode like this is. In fact, the winter update just brought Forge to Halo Infinite, which right now is single-handedly reviving that game in my opinion. So this allows your players to create content for your game, and that keeps them engaged in the game, but then by allowing them to publish their game modes, that keeps other players engaged even longer as well. And it goes even further, because you can play these games while you wait in queue for a match. So people are discovering custom games all the time. Me and my friends play one where there's a black hole and we all get a random hero at the start and we have to run to the end, and then slowly but surely the gravity gets stronger and stronger trying to pull us back. And we're having to knock each other into these barriers to stun out each other or knock each other back into the black hole and see who's last standing. And we play that all the time while we wait for matches. You know, another one we play is Genji Ball, where you have to deflect a ball or it kills you and it bounces around the players and whoever's last standing wins. And like, this is incredible. Like, this keeps player engagement really, really high. And I know it's probably not on the level of Halo Infinite's Forge or Halo 5's Forge, where it was like in-depth map creator. You could change like AI and stuff, I think, in Infinite now, which is like the furthest it's ever gone. But it's still nice giving players the option to create their own game modes, to play these custom game modes, to just have fun with your friends. You know, you can jump onto Overwatch, play 5 hours, and it could be entirely 5 hours in custom games. It doesn't matter. You know, you can have fun however you want to do it. Let's go back to the heroes for a quick minute. So there's a bunch of heroes, and they're split into 3 different roles. You have support, damage, or tank. You can role queue, so you get a well-built team, which is what I tend to do, and you can queue for the role that you personally want as well. Or you can play open queue, meaning anyone can play any roles. You could have a team of 5 tanks, you could have a team of 5 supports. The game won't stop you. So each hero is super unique. You have a huge variety of options to choose from. Each class plays incredibly differently from the other, and each hero plays vastly different from one another as well. You'll have the odd hero here or there that has some similarities to another, but overall, most heroes play individually to the others. There's not a lot of heroes that kind of copy and pasted another hero's move set. So this huge roster of heroes is definitely the game's biggest strength by far, and I think anyone who's played the game will agree with me. And the maps are mostly good. Each map feels very unique, both in how they each play and how they look as well. And going even further than that is each map's connection to the lore of the world of Overwatch. So if you're just a casual player, then each map probably won't hold any sort of sentimental value to you in any way. But if you're someone that is in any way familiar with the lore and story of Overwatch, then this will lead you to playing on maps that you'll begin to recognize from the various stories in the world of the game. And that's another strength of Overwatch. The game is good in its own right, but then you've got this expanded universe of Overwatch, which Blizzard have built with their comics and books and those master-crafted cinematics we all love so much to watch. The cinematics especially are what drew me into the world of the game, and I ended up watching a video essay on YouTube about the world and lore of Overwatch up to this point to get up to speed on all the characters and to get a better understanding of the world I was playing games in. Adding on to this little section about the expanded universe of Overwatch, Blizzard have said that there will be a story mode coming in 2023. Overwatch never had a story mode. You had the archive missions and stuff that were like their own stories, but realistically you were just pushing a payload and playing a normal objective with stories slapped on top of it. So, you know, the only real way of learning the lore was through extended media or the cinematics. If this story mode proves to be good, it could be a huge success for the game. And I'm very curious to see how they decide to do it, whether they'll have boring objectives, such as escorting payloads, or if we'll get an actual campaign with levels that have been specifically crafted for this campaign. So we'll have to wait for now, but the story mode, in my opinion, could go either way. Overall, the game is satisfying, incredibly fun to play, and is even better with a group of friends. Overwatch 2 being free to play means if you're curious, you can easily install the game and try it for yourself. It's a win-win for everyone. Or is it? Now, the game isn't perfect. In fact, I'd say there are some glaring issues with it. We'll start with the huge, glaringly obvious issue. This game is not a sequel. It's laughable to call it that. All Overwatch 2 is an update for the storefront in-game. The second issue is that the game removed loot boxes, and I can't believe I just said that. So customization, for anyone that was in the know, knows that customization in the original was a huge deal. And loot boxes were how you earn cosmetics. Now you get a linear battle pass the same as everybody else, with daily and weekly challenges to earn XP. Oh, and there's no player level anymore, just a battle pass level. Strangely, Overwatch 2 has taken the exact same route that Halo Infinite took and has made all the same mistakes. No player levels, very specific cosmetics that everyone earns in the same way. All the original cosmetics are locked away by credits that you can purchase in only specific amounts, or by earning credits, which takes far, far too long, and the only explanation for this can be greed. Activision Blizzard obviously wanted to move away from loot boxes to chase the trend of having a battle pass like every other game on the market, but in doing so, they've not only removed the loot boxes, which are a huge reason to grind the game for skins you really wanted, they've not only removed the player level, showcasing how long you've been playing for, they've not only made the store a main focus point, they've, and I'd add more importantly, pissed off the fans that put Overwatch where it is today. Overwatch would be nothing without the hundreds of thousands of people who played the original game, who loved it and supported it despite Activision Blizzard being a terrible company. By removing pretty much everything that made the original game what it was and slapping a number 2 as if this is a sequel, it's a slap in the face to the fans. Sure, the gameplay is still there, but locking heroes in a battle pass when they're a key feature of your game, that's not cool. Locking away all the previous cosmetics and making credits grindy as hell to obtain, that's an awful decision and also not cool. A sequel is meant to improve and build upon what its predecessor was. Overwatch 2 doesn't do that. Overwatch 2 updates the store, scraps half the stuff the original game had, follows Halo Infinite in scrapping player levels, streamlining customization and making it incredibly restrictive for new players, removes player level, meaning there's nothing to really grind for except the battle pass, which they obviously want you to buy, and then locking the newest hero at tier 55? Seriously? Talk about rubbing salt on the wound. And that's not all either. Moving on from all the bullshit Activision Blizzard have pulled, the core game itself isn't perfect either. Some maps just do not play well at all. You'll have games where the enemy team will take the objective, and a retake is just impossible because it's too easy to defend. You have push maps, which work in theory, but usually result in a win or loss simply based on who gets a decent distance first. Then there's the heroes that need desperate tweaking. I hate to say this because I love him, but Bastion is a prime example. You know, his damage output is insane, he melts tanks far, far too quickly, and if you have a healer with him as well, like Mercy, who can boost and heal him repeatedly, he's such a pain in the ass. Sombra and her hacking can sometimes be so detrimental to your team. You know, it gets to the point I feel like I can't do anything about her. She's invisible, she can hack me, she gets a 40% damage increase on hack targets. It's just unfair. Moira being a support, yet being able to deal so much damage, so people play her like a damage instead of fulfilling their role as support. Things like this can sometimes make a match really frustrating, and oftentimes the only way to fix is to swap the heroes you're using to mirror the enemy team just to stand a chance. Now, while I understand with multiplayer games, tweaks are always being made with nerfs and buffs to things, some of these examples seem like glaring problems, yet with a few nerfs and buffs this November, none of them focus on any of the heroes I just mentioned. Now, I also understand that I only have 30 hours in the game, so there will definitely be people that disagree with me, or will tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's okay. These are just my opinions, it's my review, and I'm all for debate. So feel free to comment whether you agree or disagree, and we'll have a debate down there. But let's just keep it respectful though, okay? Then there's the bugs or exploits. I haven't personally experienced any of these, but I've seen these reported on multiple times. Torbjorn was removed from competitive play, then put back in, but is now potentially going to be removed again. May face the same predicament, but I believe she's coming back soon. The thing is, these heroes are from the original game. How is it that Blizzard have somehow broken them? Bastion wasn't even in Overwatch 2 when it launched. There were also the queue issues many people suffered at the launch of the game, as well as being booted mid-game. Now thankfully I never experienced these, or I'd be playing a lot less of Overwatch 2. Another downside is, as a brand new player, you have to unlock the original game's heroes. Now thankfully, as someone who played the original back in 2016 briefly, the game gave me access to everyone immediately. My partner, my girlfriend, has to do 150 matches to unlock Echo. That's the last unlock she'll have. Wins count as 2, but why so extreme? Like, her roster when she started the game was like tiny. Like, I can just see this being a huge issue for new people. Why should they have to unlock these heroes when we didn't need to? How is that fair? Now finally, a quick point. Before playing the game, I was forced to make a Battle.net account, and I have no issue with this, okay? But then Blizzard need my phone number, and then basically tell me that when I use in-game chat, or if I type in-game chat, they monitor what I say. Now, first of all, setting this whole account up with my phone number was a pain in the ass. I can definitely see this being a major turn-off for many people, because I had to literally close my game a good 5 or 6 times before finally I could join my friends. Secondly, Blizzard monitoring game chat. Now I understand this is so they can ban toxic players in a game more efficiently, but I don't like the idea of a company listening in on my conversations during a game. Plus, with a workplace as shady as Activision Blizzard, maybe they should focus on monitoring what their employees are doing first, and worry about their players second. This video may be a bit shorter than my usual stuff because this wasn't an Achievement Hunters review. This is a video I wanted to make about a game I'm playing that I enjoy, but simultaneously see the flaws in. Now I can see why players of the original Overwatch are angry or frustrated with Blizzard. I can see why new players will be put off the game too, with making a Battle.net account needing to give their mobile number. It seems these days in the gaming industry that a free-to-play game is basically an excuse to make your game store the main feature, slap a battle pass in like everyone else in the industry, fill it with some good items but mostly boring or lazy shit, expect people to pay for it and buy expensive in-game credits, and if anyone criticizes you, you just say, "But it's free to play." I'm in no doubt that this game will live for a number of years, as it literally is just Overwatch with a 2 slapped on the title. And I'm in no doubt there will be people in the comments telling me that, "Zach, the games are free, stop whining," or "You never played the original, so what would you know?" And that's fine. Yes, the game is free, and yes, I basically never played the original, but we need to hold game companies accountable, otherwise they'll just churn out lazier and lazier shit until the industry is all the same. I'm still going to play Overwatch 2, and I'll continue to enjoy it. Like I mentioned, there's even a story mode coming next year in 2023, which is something to look forward to. But the game has issues. Other ways of obtaining cosmetics need to return. Player levels should return. Certain heroes need a desperate look at, and the next battle pass needs to have a considerable amount of effort put into it, including credits, so that people can earn them faster. I'm even thinking of making a second video as a follow-up to this one, just to take a deep dive into Overwatch 2's battle pass, the store, customization, and challenges, just to see how bad it is. Like I said in the beginning of the video, Overwatch 2 is a great game for someone like me. But it has problems. Some in gameplay, others with corporate greed. Hopefully, both can be fixed.